Good evening, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. I want to welcome you on behalf of myself, Vice Mayor Bain, and my fellow council members. Thank you for being a part of the 2016 State of the City Address, which we've titled Looking Forward. As I call this meeting to order, I want to welcome everyone who is here in person or watching online or on Penn TV. And for those that can benefit from simultaneous Spanish translation, I would ask that you see a table. There's a table in the back, kind of in the foyer area of the chambers, and go ahead and pick up a headset. I think they have a specific area they want you to sit in as well. So if you need simultaneous translation, that's available. So with that, City Clerk Von der Linden, roll call, please.
Certainly, Mayor Siebert. Councilmember Aguirre.
Present.
Councilmember Borgens.
Present.
Councilmember G.
Here.
Councilmember Howard.
Here.
Councilmember Mazer.
Here.
Vice Mayor Bain.
Here.
Mayor Siebert.
Here.
Thank you.
With that, if everyone would please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands. Before we get started tonight, looking forward, I want to acknowledge that there are many who have served and paved the way for those of us that serve in the council today. And I know that we have one very special person in the audience tonight. And I want to take a moment to recognize former Mayor Barbara Pierce, who is here. Thank you. I think it says a lot that immediately after going off council, she's willing to come back to the State of the City Address. And if you know Barbara, she hasn't skipped a beat staying involved, so thank you for being here. In addition to former mayors and many boards, commissions, committee members, I also want to recognize a few other folks that are in the audience today. Today we have with us the distinguished mayor of East Palo Alto, Donna Rutherford. Thank you for coming. We also have Representative Joan Dentler from Senator Jerry Hill's office is here. Thank you. And Representative Aaron Kiesler from Congresswoman Jackie Spears' office is here. Thank you. So tonight's State of the City Address is going to look and feel a little different than in the past. I love the freedom that past mayors and vice mayors have taken in crafting a wide variety of State of the City addresses through the years, and this year is going to be no different. The night I was honored to have been selected mayor, I promised that this year the State of the City Address would be heard first right here in our chambers and free to the public. So tonight, I'm keeping that promise. Also, as part of my comments that night, I shared my vision for my term as mayor. I shared that in the next 2 years, my goal was to be remembered by my colleagues as a time when they had the opportunity to shine, to use their individual strengths and passions to collectively serve the needs of the community. Our city council is a team. With myself and Vice Mayor Bain playing point guard, if this was a basketball team, tonight is an opportunity for you to hear from our team. I'm excited for what you're going to hear about the future of Redwood City as we look forward. While tonight is all about looking forward, part of healthy planning for the future is the acknowledgement and celebration of where we've been. And so to kick off tonight's State of the City Address, we'll take a look back at 2015 through a presentation on the video screen. So join me. You join me in thanking our staff for putting together that video. Thank you very much. So as promised, tonight's State of the City address will be different, and it will be different in the way in that the team will be presenting that. So with that, I'd like to invite Vice Mayor Bain to kick off our Looking Forward.
Thank you, Mayor Siebert. And again, thanks to our staff for putting together just a few of the highlights. As the mayor and I were discussing this, we really wanted to focus on looking forward. So that's what you'll see across the 6 initiatives that you see up here on the screen. As you can see, we've accomplished a great deal as a city over the last year, and I'm very proud of what we've done. We also have a number of exciting quality of life initiatives underway, which you'll hear about in a moment. And each of the priorities listed behind me on your screen, we have a thriving downtown filled with wonderful businesses, restaurants, and entertainment. And in case you haven't seen it, the light shows on Tuesday nights are a fantastic addition that's just come along in the last year. And we have many great things ahead to look forward to. But we also have a number of challenges. And we opened up a session on February 8th where we heard from the community about what a number of those challenges are. So with development, we've seen challenges related to parking, we've seen challenges related to traffic, we've seen challenges related to historic preservation. And over the next year, we'll be taking a close look at our precise plan and seeing what modifications we can make to ensure that it continues to meet community needs. We are also being impacted by a strong local economy, and those two things are happening at the same time. So with traffic, for example, as the economy has rebounded, particularly in the tech sector, it's impacting regional traffic as well as local neighborhoods. We need to seek solutions that are both regional and local, that get people out of their cars. In order to do that, we must give people other options for getting around. And Councilmember Aguirre will talk about some of the things that are currently underway to help us in that area. In terms of historic preservation, we've seen some incidents where contributing homes have been demolished, and we need to find ways that as the city grows, that the historic resources are appropriately protected. We've seen some small family-owned businesses that have had a hard time relocating in Redwood City. So we're going to need to take a look at that and make sure that these types of businesses, which help make up the family fabric of our community, can stay in Redwood City. And perhaps most notably, we've noticed that with the strong economy, we've had an exacerbated situation with the housing crunch. This has been particularly felt by the low and moderate and very low income residents in our community. And at our priority session on February 22nd, several council members expressed that housing affordability should be a top-level priority for us. So that will be added to the list of the 6 strategic initiatives you see for this year. And next year, we hope to report out some positive results. Now, that's not to say that we haven't taken some good steps in the right direction. As many of you know, we instituted an innovative new program called the Fire Safety First program, spearheaded by Councilmember G when he was mayor. And what this program does is this allows us to give low-interest loans to apartment owners to put in sprinkler systems, which are very expensive, in exchange for rent stabilization for a period of 5 years. So we hope a number of apartment owners will take advantage of that program. We also recently introduced housing impact fees and commercial linkage fees. So we've had several market rate developments that have been built, but it's become increasingly difficult to facilitate the building of new low-income housing since the loss of redevelopment in 2010, which provided a funding mechanism. We're hoping the impact fees will provide a funding mechanism going forward. But this is not an issue that's exclusive to Redwood City. It's an issue that cities around the Bay Area are dealing with. And there have been a number of community forums that have taken place to look at this from a number of different perspectives. So we'll work very closely with our Housing and Human Concerns Committee to see what we can do over the next year. And the hardest challenge with this is the acquisition of land. So we'll be working with the development community to say, what can you do to bring us proposals that include housing for low and very low income people in the proposal? Because that's something that concrete that they can do. Some of you may have seen the city of San Jose recently passed an inclusionary zoning ordinance that was challenged in court. So that ordinance has now been upheld, but it only applies to for sale housing. And so there is an assembly bill right now that's been introduced by Kevin Mullen, who is our assemblyman, for those of you who are not aware, Assembly Bill 2502, that would allow cities to do inclusionary zoning and rental units. We'll be watching that with great interest. So as the mayor said, this is really a team up here of 7 people, but I want to make the point that it's not just the 7 of us here or the 547 people in our staff, but really everybody in the community who needs to work together to look at these strategic initiatives and say, how can we make this community an even better place than it already is? So we'll be reaching out to all of you over the next year to help us help you make this a great city. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Howard, who will talk about the first initiative, Community for All Ages. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor Bain. Community for All Ages is about celebrating the unique contributions that youth, seniors, and residents of all ages and abilities bring to our community, and providing abundant opportunities for lifelong residents learning with their health development and physical activity and social connections. Looking ahead, we'll begin Phase 2 of the expansion of Jardín de los Niños Park, which includes new playground equipment, more trees, and so much more. We will also be making upgrades and restoring features at Linden, Dolphin, and Marlin Park, and the Shorebird tennis courts. And we will finalize plans and begin construction for a new community garden at Maple and Lathrop Street, and launch the Roselli Garden play space project for everyone to enjoy. We're expanding our senior services as well, such as the Wider Circle, a wellness program for adults over 50 that connect isolated seniors with similar interests. It will provide socially and mentally stimulating programs such as dancing, cooking classes, hiking, wine tasting, book clubs, and seminars about keeping your brain healthy. It sounds like something we should all join. We are also finalizing project details with the YMCA for upgrading the Veterans Memorial Senior Center and expanding programs not only for seniors but for all ages. The current plans include a reimagined Herkner Pool, Wellness Center, Resource Building, and the NFL Alumni Building. These improvements will enable Redwood City to enhance the community's fitness, wellness, and recreational resources, inspiring healthy and active living, enhancing volunteer opportunities, and promoting multi-generational connections. We will be inviting our community members to help us finalize these plans. The Redwood City Library Foundation is actively raising funds to expand early childhood learning centers to every library location in Redwood City. This is just one of the ways we plan to enhance the customer experience at our libraries. We will also increase available square footage at the Fair Oaks Library by 20%, and it will include a dedicated teen area. We received a parks grant last year to transform the underutilized park next to our main library into a play area for everyone. We will be doing community outreach this year to gain input as we plan this exciting project. Another priority is to make getting to school safer and easier. We will continue with our Safe Routes to School projects, creating various measures to increase safety for our students who walk and bike to school. This will include Kennedy Middle School, where we will be improving the Alameda de las Pulgas and Goodwin intersection. And now I would like to turn it over to Councilmember Jeff G., who will talk about government operations.
Thank you, Councilmember Howard. I know our staff and our city managers leading our team here, her goal is that our staff, who you interact with on a daily basis, leads our city with transparency, efficiency, accountability, and be fiscally responsible with all of our tax dollars. They're committed citywide to neighborhood services, making sure they're fairly equitably distributed across all of our neighborhoods in Redwood City to maintain a high quality of life and keep our communities safe. As you saw from the video, we've added some new team members. We're very honored to have Melissa Stevenson Diaz as our new leader, as our city manager. our new chief, Stan Maupin, who's carrying on 100 years of fire chief history by being pinned and coming up through the ranks of our fire department. We also have, I think Starla's here, Starla Jerome Robinson, our interim finance director over here, and Catherine Ralston, our new economic development manager, and there are more team members to come as other cities look to us to poach our staff that we try to keep here. But I know we have a number of city engineers around the region, and that's a great compliment to our team and our leadership here in Redwood City. As a city manager, Melissa leads our staff, but it takes a whole team working together, our department heads, our staff, and all of you, as the mayor said, and the vice mayor, working together to make Redwood City a great place. Government operations is critical to keeping our city running smoothly, not overspending, planning for the future, and looking ahead constantly as we go up and down the roller coaster of economic cycles. And I have great confidence in our staff. As we look at some examples of what we're doing to plan ahead, we engage collaboratively and responsibly. Here's an example of what we're doing to save money. Investing in solar panels at the Red Morton Community Center. This will save us over $300,000 in our electrical bills over the next 10 years. Consistently making investments and setting aside reserves for that rainy day, not that we didn't have one over this weekend, but we know we need a rainy day reserve budget because those days will come. And while we're doing these improvements at Red Morton, we're also going to be doing upgrades at the tennis courts, a new batting cage, and improved lighting. As Councilmember Howard shared, we've been working to enhance customer service and experience from a government operations perspective, and we continue to improve efficiencies. One of these ways is technology. And here's an example of what we're doing in our libraries in partnership with the Redwood City School District. This is at the Fair Oaks Library, where they are expanding their portable electronic device program by circulating iPads for home checkout. These devices, along with laptops, will help improve our children's learning and the customer experience and save us money in the long run. They're preloaded with the same apps recommended by the school district, and it leverages the library's resources to reinforce what the students are learning at school. It's a great partnership with the school district. In addition, the library used over 124,000 hours of volunteer time, the equivalent of 60 staff, and they're looking for more volunteers, right, Derek? From Project Read, Traveling Storytime, and a number of other programs. Those volunteer hours are more hours than we have staff, and we can use more from the community to help us. Water. While this weekend may have suggested the drought is over, it is not over yet. We've expanded our recycled water program by earlier this year. We approved a budget and actually we approved a contract to bring recycled water to the west side of 101. So later on this year, a number of our properties and projects will be using recycled water. We've upgraded the water experience that you can have through your app by upgrading the My Water portal so that it's a lot friendlier interface so you can see at your smartphone how you're using water now and into the future. Another one of the city's main priorities through government operations is making sure we continue to invest in our infrastructure. It promotes community well-being and safety. Last year, with our CIP program, we approved over $30 million in infrastructure improvements to our local streets, sidewalks, sewer systems, flood, and park community centers. And we brought back our 50/50 sidewalk repair program. There's a lot going on in the city. We want to make sure that our infrastructure is well taken care of. You'll hear from several of our council colleagues about the different things we're doing. But government operations is something that you feel every single day, whether it be in the streets, our parks, our libraries, our public safety. And my hat's off to the entire city team for doing a great job. With that, I'm going to pass the baton over to Councilmember Borgens, who will talk about public safety.
Thank you, Councilmember G. First of all, I want to go on record saying nobody will poach our fire chief or our police chief. Not happening. So I have the honor of presenting the public safety portion of this. And our fire department and police department are continually looking for ways to work with the community. They cover an array of services with programs that keep our community safe and engaged. So with the police department, they will be deploying their new downtown services unit to increase visibility and support in the busy downtown core. They'll also roll out the Special Events Bicycle Patrol team, which will help them better observe as well as maneuver around and control the crowds. This type of community policing gives officers a better understanding of their beat, and it raises their visibility too, which makes us all feel safer. They'll also work to expand and enhance the community outreach programs like Coffee with Cops. This program was just recognized by Redwood City 2020 as being a welcoming star. A great example of this is the bike safety and maintenance program for 4th and 5th graders who attend the Reach After School program, the majority of which come from low-income households, also known as the Spokes program. The Spokes program, in partnership with Redwood City 2020, has been awarded a grant by the San Mateo County Safe Routes to School program to cover the program costs for this school year. With community support through our Adopt a School program from Redwood General Tire, the Sims Metal Management, and Seaport Industrial Association, each student who completes the Spokes course will receive a new bicycle to continue the safe riding techniques and maintenance skills learned in this class. I think that is incredible. As a child receiving a new bike when they just learned the safety, I think that's really, really special. And the statistics for the police department, violent crime is down 8% and residential burglaries are down 13%. I think that speaks a lot to the success of the programs that we use for outreach in our community. Getting the community engaged in all of these programs is huge, and I thank the police chief and his staff for engaging our community. With the fire department, they're developing and conducting emergency shelter training workshop for key staff and members of our community, the Community Emergency Response Team, known as CERT. If you live in Redwood City, please consider taking part in the CERT training. It educates you and your neighbors about how you can best prepare your household, family, and neighborhood for a natural disaster and other emergencies. And we all know it's coming, so the best defense is to be prepared. This program teaches you how to do that. More of these trainings are in the work, and we strongly encourage you and your neighbors to take advantage of this resource. This next year, as you heard from Councilmember Bain, they will implement the Fire Safety First Sprinkler Retrofit Program, which was approved last year by the City Council. This is the first program of its kind in the country. This program offers free fire sprinklers for all multifamily buildings of 4 units or more to help mitigate the potential for more severe property damage and personal injuries in the event of a fire. We witnessed that this last couple of years with 2 very devastating fires. Had they had fire sprinklers, there would have been a lot less damage and the buildings would still be occupied. So this is a great program. This program also gives owners a financial incentive to retrofit these at-risk residential buildings. And if they accept it, the apartment owner will agree to slow rent increases. What a win-win. Here's an opportunity for us to maintain some of our affordable units. Another way they're working towards preserving those affordable units. So I'm excited about what their programs are and their outreach to the community. And with that, I will pass this on to Councilmember Masur for community building and communication.
Well, how awesome is it to get to start with this picture?
I love it. It's so great.
So community building and communication really is about, in our strategic plan, working together to build a community that's welcoming, vibrant, and actively engaged in the life of our city. So for me, and actually, could we have the next slide, please? I see this as embodying the concept of collective impact, which Redwood City pioneered in the late 90s when it formed Redwood City 2000, now Redwood City 2020. And collective impact is about a set of shared goals for a community that we all work together to achieve. And so in this, the city is a key partner. And so the key to what all of I'm going to talk about is working together. We have so much going on in the arena of community building and communication, as you saw in the video. We won't have time to cover it all, but I think about, when I start to think about this, I think about the Harambe event, which I know some of you attended because I saw you there. And that was bringing the community together to make public art in our parks and to keep us moving forward. So if I think more about public art, and looking forward, we'll be working with the Redwood City Improvement Association on new public art installations in downtown. A great example is the utility box mural program, which we will expand this year. Here's an example of it up on the slide. I hope everyone's seen them and that it's made your day a little more cheerful as you're driving around, maybe stuck in traffic. We'll also be continuing our popular mural programs. We saw a few up at the beginning, and I hope you've all seen the new ones on Commercial Way. They're pretty fun. On the back of Pickled and the Underground Pub and Revival Clothing, those are our newest ones. So next slide. Another way we build community is to help families with caring for their children while they're at work. This year, we'll undertake a study to identify and assess potential future child care facility sites to serve both businesses and residents. Currently, we have great resources on our website, redwoodcity.org, in case you don't remember, about current child care resources for parents, child care operators, and advocates. This includes private providers and many of the preschools operated by our Redwood City School District. One of the ways that people can get involved in our city and make their voices heard is to participate on a board, commission, or committee. In fact, many of our council members have served on commissions or committees in the past. This spring, and we have several of our members in the audience tonight, so thank you guys for being here and for all of your work. This spring, we'll be recruiting new members to several city boards, commissions, and committees, and we encourage you all to consider applying and help shape key city initiatives. Last year, we received 55 applications for 14 positions. It's a great showing of our community's engagement in our work and shows that we're also doing a better job of letting you all know when that opportunity is available. Most of those were filled on an ongoing basis in 2015, but we did just appoint 2 new members on February 8th, one for Civic and Cultural Commission and one for Housing and Human Concerns. On March 14th, we'll be appointing a new planning commissioner. There was an opening when Councilmember Borgens was elected, so we'll be appointing someone to fill her seat next week. This year, we'll also start recruiting for 28 additional positions, which are coming up for renewal. So mark your calendar, keep your eyes on your email. I just wanted to share an example of work that our commissions do, and that's an example of the Housing and Human Concerns, which advocates the improvement of quality of life of Redwood City citizens and assures that human considerations, as set forth in the general plan, are given adequate consideration in physical and economic decision-making. With activities like the Fair Oaks Community Center's participation in the countywide homeless system redesign process, which is aimed at ending homelessness in San Mateo County by 2020. There's obviously much work for all of us to do in this area, but this continued work together will make it possible. So the definition of a conversation is an informal exchange of ideas by words, and it's critical to this idea is the exchange. You've seen a lot of ways that the city has done a lot of work to reach out to all of you and provide you with better information. This past year, we greatly expanded opportunities to learn about what's happening. We live tweet the city council meetings. We post recaps of city council meetings. We've expanded our social media outlets, and we have a new blog, the Redwood City Voice. But we have more work to do to hear your voices. And as such, we've launched a committee of the council. I'm serving on that committee along with Vice Mayor Bain and Councilmember Borgens, which will be looking both at how we get information out to the community, but also how we receive that information. So we need you to let us know different ways you think we can hear from you. Send us an email, tweet us, call us, and share your thoughts. We really mean it when we say we need you to join the conversation. So now I'm pleased to turn it over to Councilmember Aguirre to talk about our 2 final initiatives, economic development and transportation.
Thank you, Councilmember Mazur. So all of these programs would not be possible without economic development in the city and how it's managed. And we are developing a sustaining, thriving local business environment. That's very important to the council. This one is going to contribute to our community's economic well-being, which establishes a good quality of life. And it's not just that we're working with. There's other groups that are working with this. For example, the Downtown Business Group, the Redwood City Chamber, and other groups that are working to make sure that our downtown is thriving. Some of the highlights that we're looking at is looking at city-owned land and analyzing it for potentials for affordable housing. And that's been one of the key things. And one of the, when we had our strategic planning, that's our number one. We're looking at our number one goal besides our strategic plan. How can we work on affordable housing? And as I was reading articles today about what they're doing in the city of San Mateo, what we're doing here, every city, Belmont, every city is looking for ways. And so we're looking at best practices. And one of the things we've looked at is our city-owned land. And we're also beginning the process with Stanford and Redwood City, and it's going to create a new state-of-the-art campus. And initially, we're going to have 2,300 Stanford employees that will be working here and doing vital services for the university. We're going to look at another way of making sure that we launch a preservation program for our small businesses to make sure that we're keeping them here, that we're working with them. As we get new businesses, we want to make sure that our mom and pops are flourishing as well. In order to preserve and encourage more retail on Main Street, we're looking at ways that we will limit the number of non-retail businesses that come onto Main Street. So those are some of the areas that we're looking for boosting our downtown retail. As far as the upgrading the parking options, you've seen and evaluated some of the new parking meters that we're looking at. And we're trying to develop supportive transportation and infrastructure systems programs that enable safe travel to and from and within the communities that we're doing. And these included some of the things that were mentioned earlier. But we know that one of the number one issues that we have is traffic and congestion, and how are we going to address it, and the parking. And these are concerns for the city that we're working hard and for other opportunities. I was just talking to someone earlier who said, have you tried crossing 900? It's the easiest new parking lot. And so how do we get this information out to folks that are coming to these meetings or that are doing other things downtown? There are 650 spaces. It's huge, and I think sometimes we're afraid to go down there and see, and it is one of the assets that we have as far as parking. Other parking efforts are also at 815 Hamilton, the project that's there, which will also bring a lot of needed space for new parking in the Jefferson Garage. And we are awarding a contract, as I mentioned, for the new meters. We've also paved Whipple Avenue from the western limit of El Camino all the way with an overlay of 1.25 miles. Remember what Whipple Avenue was like, and it's been, this summer we were working on it, and there were trucks there and so on, but now it's really improved. And one of the areas that I'm passionate about is also transportation. So how do we improve the flow of traffic in our cities? There are some things that we have control of, and there's some things that we don't have control of. Beginning with the environmental review that we're going to do about the 101-84 interchange projects, which will allow for design phase to be initiated. And not only the cities of Redwood City, but all the other cities that flow through our city and that use that route and that create traffic for our neighborhoods. We want to make sure that we're working and it accommodates everyone else. Another one that we're working on is the 101 corridor and making sure that it stops at Whipple. When you come here, a carpool lane stops at Whipple. And so we're studying ways regionally on how we can expand that so that we either have hybrid or carpool lanes to move forward. So from Whipple on, that we will have more flow of traffic. And all of these pieces fit together, as they flow down from our cities into the other highways. And we're going to be starting construction on the Middlefield Utility Underground project. We're working on that with the counties, and it's going to move all the utilities underground so that it'll provide wider sidewalks, pedestrian, more trees, and better lighting. And we have hired a consultant to complete a streetcar study, and this is one of the things that we've been looking at. How do we move folks between it was mentioned that we have the senior shuttle. We've talked about other ways of moving folks. A lot of the companies have their own shuttles, but we've been really looking at a way that we have our own streetcar shuttle that will move folks within our city from place to place into a new Redwood City Transit Center. And with that, covering those two areas, I'm going to turn this back over to our mayor.
Thank you very much. Please join me in giving this amazing team of leaders a round of applause for these great presentations. Thank you very much for that. Looking forward in Redwood City, I think it's obvious we have a bright future. Well, that future includes challenges, many of which we heard in this from our community in our managing growth meeting in this chambers on February 8th, and are already focusing resources to find solutions for. Tonight, you heard our team share many exciting ideas about our future. Think just for a minute with me about looking forward to a new Woodside Road 101 interchange. As you heard, we have a plan, and now we need to use our influence regionally. And people like Councilmember Aguirre, who will be, I know, somewhere next Monday night, working regionally on transportation and nationally. But we need to look statewide, nationally, at a national level to fund this project that is far more than just Redwood City's project. Think about moving forward with housing options for everyone, as Vice Mayor Bain talked about. You heard just a few weeks ago that we elevated housing to become the 7th core strategic initiative in Redwood City, and we're directing our Housing and Human Concerns Committee to be the point in working with our entire community to find solutions to this housing issue. Think about better communications. Through the direction of the Communications Committee, which was launched the night I was selected mayor, I'm anxious to hear how we'll improve communications with our community. Think about a new Veterans Memorial Senior Center. I raised my hand to serve on this committee, I think before it was even formed, and I'm excited for the opportunity to put a shovel in the ground in the near future and get started. Think about the expanded use of recycled water. At our Utilities Commission meeting last week, we got an update. Redwood City is using only 2/3 of our allotted water by the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission and has reduced water usage by over 34% since 2008. And recycled water is the largest contributor to that amazing record. And now we are very close to having recycled water on the west side of 101, and I'm excited to see the purple pipes come downtown. I never thought I liked the color purple so much. Think about increased public art that will give people another reason to enjoy being out and about in Redwood City. Think about a safer community with a police department and a fire department that have the training opportunities and resources they need to be prepared to serve the increasing and ever-changing needs in our community. And think about the economic development and a focus on preserving small businesses and creating more retail. That's only a fraction of what you heard my colleagues talk about, and that's even another fraction of what we have to look forward to in Redwood City, and I'm excited about it. So after all that, what does the mayor say? What came to mind when I started planning my comments was, what's it going to take to accomplish all that? It's easy to immediately turn to the various nuts and bolts kinds of things that it will take. Fiscal responsibility. We need to carefully plan for our future so that our unfunded liabilities don't cripple us and our reserves allow us to weather the next future economic downturn. We need good risk management, ensuring that we keep an eye on threats to our infrastructure, our economy, other things around the city. We need to stay on top of innovation, staying on the green edge of technology and other services, and maximizing creative ideas to stay relevant. And we need to maximize our partnerships with our schools, our nonprofits, our businesses, and our other agencies in San Mateo County. Our future depends on these strategic partnerships so we can all succeed. Speaking for a moment specifically to businesses that call Redwood City home, a huge thank you to those that invest generously in the needs of our community. And to those that are thinking of moving here or are here and don't participate yet, the time is now to actively find ways to make meaningful investments in our community. While those things are part of the many nuts and bolts that are important to accomplishing our goals, we're in the business of building a better community together. And at the very core of that, our most critical resource and tool to accomplishing great things looking forward is our people, each other. Look around. Look at the people who are watching online. Look at the people who are on TV. It's the entire community. It is impossible to achieve these things without the collective wisdom and collective effort of all of us. I found a quote when I was doing some research on this by Mother Teresa, who I think said it best when she said, "I can do things you cannot, you can do things I cannot, and together we can do great things." At the risk of oversimplifying this, I want to spend a few minutes addressing a few large groups of people that are critical in looking forward. First, our staff. The employees of Redwood City, reaching all corners of our organization, are the unsung heroes of the great things that go on in our community. Thank you in advance for the hard work I know you'll put in, often without kudos from anyone. We will remain committed to attracting and retaining the best employees because 1, this is a fabulous place to work, and 2, because it is the hard work going above and beyond the call of duty by these dedicated individuals that will help our community thrive in the future. I do want to take a moment here and recognize our key appointments. First of all, Sylvia von der Linden, our dedicated and faithful city clerk. Pamela Thompson, our retiring city attorney, who will be greatly missed, and a huge thank you to Michelle Kenyon, who has stepped in and keeping us on track in the meantime. Thank you. And Melissa Stevenson Diaz, our city manager, who empowers our amazing staff. And now I'm going to pause here for a minute and ask our city manager to introduce her department heads that are here with us tonight.
Thank you very much. And actually, a little of my thunder was stolen, but there's a few folks that I do want to recognize who are on our department head team. So first, our Assistant City Manager and Community Development Director, Aaron Acton, is here, and I'm very grateful for his work every single day. So our Interim Finance Director and Fire Chief were introduced, but our Library Director, Derek Wolfgram, was not introduced, so thank you, Derek. And I'm not sure if Chris Beth is here. Oh, in the back, thank you. I asked staff to distribute themselves, and look what happened. So thank you. Chris is Mr. Redwood City, and I'm grateful for his work. Our police chief, J.R. Gamez, is here. And though our Public Works Director, Ramana Chinnakatla, could not be here, he's out of town, I did want to thank our Assistant Public Works Director, Terrence Jaw, who's here after working a good bit of the weekend on making sure our flooding was under control. So thank you, TK. And quickly, two people without whom tonight would not have been possible are John Lanthier, who's tweeting as we speak, I think, live tweeting, and did the fabulous video you saw. And Megan Horrigan with our friend Jean Sullivan, who put together the great PowerPoint. So my great appreciation to our communications staff.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, sorry, jump in here, but I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge our very valuable Assistant City Attorney, who, as you all know, I'm a part-time city attorney, and Veronica Ramirez, our Assistant City Attorney, has really stepped up to the plate and done a real laboring oar in assisting me in managing that office. So I'd like to acknowledge her presence here today as well.
Absolutely, thank you. Thank you. And a huge thank you to all of our staff. I know this past weekend, this is not in my script, so I'm going to try and go off cue here for a minute. This was a challenging weekend, and the report I got when I woke up Sunday morning about how well things had went, having spent the night before with things not going so well while I worked. I wish we'd had our city crew working where I work, because the things would have gone a lot better. But thank you. It was a big storm, and appreciate it. There was minimal, if any, effect and impact on the city. So thank you very much. And now continuing my comments about our greatest resource in reaching our goals, our people. Our council. Thank you first for joining me in the State of the City address tonight. Thank you for caring about our community, and thank you for your support. As a council, as we move forward and looking forward, we need to continue to listen and lead. Listening to everyone in our community, seeking input from all the stakeholders, and relying on our diverse connections to make sure our community is given the opportunity to be heard. We need to lead with the unique strengths that each of us bring to the council. We need to lead with an understanding of the past, our ear to the present, but a keen eye for the future. We have unique strengths, and I would encourage us to see the complementary giftedness of each other. And finally, and most importantly, to our community, thank you for your support, for caring enough to be engaged, for the creativity, wisdom, and the time you're willing to invest with us in looking forward. Whether I'm out and about enjoying our city, talking to folks at various events, or perusing the online world, there are clearly some things that I think will make our great community even greater. I think we need to talk more with each other and less to each other and less about each other. Our community will not thrive unless we find opportunities to have face-to-face conversations where that 80% of communication, nonverbal, can once again play an important part in mutual understanding. I think we need revitalized neighborliness. We need to get to know each other, meet as neighborhoods and blocks, and be ready and willing to help each other out. And the city is willing to help you out with doing that. Let us know if you want to have a block party or a neighborhood meeting, and we'll see how we can help, even financially. I would ask you tonight, how well do you know your neighbor, and can they rely on your help when you need it? Our community needs solution-oriented responses to our challenges. I understand when a community disagrees with each other, with the council, and I'm asking that we go one step beyond and willing to step up and to follow up sharing our concerns and solutions with an outstretched hand, ready and willing to help. And finally, we need to celebrate our diversity, not only our age, race, religion, socioeconomic status, but the diversity of our ideas and tastes for things in the community. Ideas that are different need to be just that, different, not bad, not wrong. What I said in December, I still firmly believe. Anything that we want to achieve looking forward as a community will take the collective wisdom, strengths, dedication, positive outlook, and hard work of all of us, our community, our staff, and our council. In our plan to be different tonight, we ran into a little snag the other day and realized that traditional question and answer is not possible because we've been discussing items that aren't on the agenda, and this meeting's never been an official meeting, an agendized meeting. And so I tie that in with something I just said, that we need to talk more with each other. And so I'm going to invite you as we adjourn tonight to stick around for a bit and talk with our council. We'll stay here, our staff will stay here, and to Q&A and to dialogue face to face. I'm sorry for those that aren't here. If you want to run down, we'll be here for a little bit. If not, find us at events and take opportunities to talk with us. So with that, I want to thank you again for investing your time tonight, looking forward with us. It was our pleasure to be here. It was my pleasure to lead with my colleagues and with all of you. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.